Hello everyone, I'm sure some of you were wondering, will he ever come back? What's going on with him? Well, actually, what's going on with him is I had this technical problem. I hope it is solved now. And I'm not sure, but we'll see. And then, yesterday we had these seven S7 that came to school, and they're still coming today, but I thought to myself, why wouldn't I send a lesson anyway, even though I'm not supposed to, because when I am at school, I'm not supposed to teach. But that's it for today. I think we can do it no matter what. What we'll need this morning is the sing book, of course, and the workbook. Okay, and you go to page 86. You take your think book, workbook, page 86, and then we are going to start to work on it when it's done. Okay, so I'm waiting for you. To start working today, I think that the first thing to do is to read something. Okay, so you do that, you see that little computer screen on in the middle of the page 86 of your book called the Inuit in the past nowadays. Okay, so let's try to do that. The Inuit are, I'm going to read it, okay? So it's divided into two separate parts, okay? In the past, nowadays. So you are going to learn some cultural things about the Inuit, okay? Inuit are those living in the north of America and in Iceland also, Greenland. The Inuit are people who live in the north of Canada, that's true, and the USA. But if you think about USA, you will have to focus on one thing, not the big thing not the big country under Canada, but the northern part, which is Alaska. Right? It's the only place where Americans can have also have Inuits. So, the Inuit are people who live in the north of Canada and the USA and Greenland in the place of snow and ice. Okay, those are, well, they look like Indians to say the truth. Okay, and North American Indians, I mean, they look like that, but they are living in the north part. Okay, they are living in the part where there is snow and ice. In the past, living areas. In the past, the Inuit people lived in camps and they moved all the time depending on the weather. Nowadays, now they live in fixed communities, group of houses, mostly near the sea and at the mouth of rivers. Okay. Homes. The Inuit people lived in tents made from animal skins or in igloos, traditional houses and made of ice. These days, they live in wooden houses that are built in the south of Canada, but they still use tents to next to the houses and igloos when they are hunting. Clothes. They were clothes made from the skin of the animal that they killed. Okay, now the Inuit mostly wear modern ready-made clothes, but they still also use traditional fur boots, gloves, and clothes, especially in the winter, and that is probably because it is by far the only material that they can have that is warm enough to stay in that kind of weather, freezing weather. Food supply. The Inuit got their food by hunting and fishing using bows and arrows, but also harpoons, special tools for killing fish or seals. And they also caught animals that they could eat using traps. Now, the Inuit continue to hunt and fish, but they usually get their food using guns and modern fishing equipment. Okay, finally, transport. The transport, well, they had dogs that carried things and that also pulled the sledges for people to move around. On the rivers, they used kayaks, a special boat, for one or two people. I think is what we call an image d'épinal. I think you all saw one day an Inuit, either on a painting, or might be also in a cartoon, or in well, in movies you can see those kind of boats made usually only for one, and it is kind of a little kayak, but it's also closed, so they want they don't have the legs out of the boat, but inside the boat. Now they use sledges with motors, and their boats are also have motors. And in the communities, they use cars. Okay, so they are saying that they don't use dogs anymore to transport themselves. But the thing is that it is absolutely true for that. But at the same time, well, you can imagine that it's not because the modernity exists, that they live in modern times. It doesn't mean that necessarily all that their old cultural things are that they don't use them anymore. Okay, so they still have some dogs. Some of them can also have those sledges with dogs, because I know that in the south part of Canada we still can use those things in special occasions. So the Inuit in the past and nowadays, so this is what we have to focus for the first and the second exercise. Why is that? Well, actually, for all that page 1, 2, and 3, for those exercises, and not only that one, but you will have to make your memory work a little. Okay, you do remember probably that we worked on that at the right beginning of this 9th chapter. So using the student's book, you go back to page 84, 85, and you will have this little story about the Sand people. So what they are asking you to do now is to try to remember what they were saying in the first article, and then try to also to say, if in the second exercise, try to see if those phrases, sentences are true or false. But now, in the second exercise, we are focusing on the Inuit story. And the third exercise is also focused. We focus only in the Inuit text. So you do that. So the first exercise is quite easy, but at the same time, you need to make you have to match the three parts of one sentence. Okay, so you have to do something like a net here to follow well the idea of the sentence. Okay, so you do the first part, the second, the first exercise, the second, and the third. Once you're finished with that, you come back and I'll be here.